Progress Racing presents Show Us Your Tips midweek preview, August the 11th, 2021. Beaver, how was the weekend? What's going on?
Mate, weekend was okay. Start of the week's okay, mate. Firing on all cylinders and ready to go for another day on the punt.
Yeah, we'll get into Newcastle racing. So we're outside the metro region for now, which has meant that none of the gun jockeys are there, or none of the big gun jockeys are there. So I suppose we're looking for the likes of Alicia Collett and uh, Leah McGorry and Keegan Latham, Reece Jones throughout the day. The ones we're sort of looking towards there, but we are at Newcastle where the rail is in at the 5 metre mark, I believe. I'm sort of thinking the last few times it's been here, it's played swoopers, running line. So we'll look for that sort of pattern throughout the afternoon. We kick off with a 1300 metre maiden to start the day. Waller's got a bevy of them as he does all throughout the day. How are we starting off?
Yeah, tricky affair first up here. Couple of horses that haven't had too many starts, and the ones that haven't shown a hell of a lot. I kind of led for Waller's Greater Harlem in the first race. Thought its first two starts were decent enough for a race like this. Drawn a bit wide, which was a little bit of a concern, but resuming back from a brief let up, raced in much better races than this behind the likes of Overman and Overpass, and wasn't too far off those. Trialled reasonably well. Yeah, it looks to have the edge on some of these based off the form of a couple of those horses.
Found the same horse. I thought started $6 on a Saturday behind Overman and just got too far out of its ground. Went out after that. Before that was pretty good on debut, chasing Overpass. That form's been okay as a 2-year-old, and I had it on top two. I thought $7 was a good price. I think it gets the right run, and was just waiting for a jockey, which is now I can see Rory Hutchings. So I've got absolutely no issue with that either. So on top for me, from Taborka, who was interesting, it's about $13. Has some okay Melbourne form, saying a similar setup here, and the trial was okay coming back. I was happy to back both those Waller runners. And a little watch on Alicia Collett's Mountain of First, which is another Waller runner. It's just had the one trial, but trialled okay. But I'm all walled up in the first, and all of them are pretty backable prices. But yeah, Greater Harlem on top as well.
Good.
Race number 2, the 1850 meter benchmark 74. And I don't have my alarm ready, but go and tell us why you're tipping Mother's Mercy.
I wasn't going to, purely
Okay.
because you were going to have a shot at me. I wasn't going to have a tip in the race because of that. Yeah, I do think it will be hard to beat coming back to this grade from Saturday class racing at Randwick. Gets the blinkers on. It should be too good for these, but the Masara mock might take its toll on me. But yeah, Mother's Mercy be hardest to beat here.
Yeah, Mother's Mercy on top for me. Right back in grade to come back from. So I'd sound the alarm when I found it. Right back in grade. It's a leader back in grade. Reece Jones goes on board. It's going to get control of this. And the blinkers going on. It's pretty deep in a prep, but it has to win this if it's got any ounce of ability. Dropping back from your sort of 70s and 78 grades. Happy to be with it. I think $2.80 is a reasonable price too, because I couldn't find anything else here. So look out! I found the Masara. Race number 3 is the 5-year-old and up benchmark 72, and what an affair this is.
It's a beauty, isn't it?
Yeah, I've got, once we get to these 5-year-old plus races, there's not a lot left in them. But I thought the resumption of Magella was pretty good at Kenzo. It beat home Hot Spring Gold, who came out and bolted in first up. It gets Alicia Collett, who's the gun jockey on the day, and is still about $4.60. Was happy to sort of take on Royal Banquet. Just thought it might get the swoopers run that might suit here. And I thought, it's now $8, but big surprise can probably roll along in front and run a place. They were the two I'd sort of had here. How have you lined all these up?
Yeah, tough affair. I didn't get overly excited by the race here. I did, if I had to have a pick, I come up with Donato from the Freedman stable. I thought its resumption was okay without being flattering.
Hmm.
But if you go back a couple of starts prior to it being spelled, ran a second and then it won at Eagle Farm over the 1800 metres, beating Joymaker quite comfortably up in Brizzy. I thought that was probably good enough form to win a race like this. It'll be further improved. The extra 100 metres or so that it's got this time in will benefit it and might run a decent race.
Yeah, nice. The fourth is another Waller affair here, where what are we over here? The 3 and 4 year old benchmark 64. We both mentioned too much to bear before the weekend. It's been saved for this now. It's on the drift actually, but I thought it comes here. We're going to see the form go across 2 states tomorrow afternoon. Given we're going to see Mr. Brightside in action at Sandown as well. It'd be very hard to beat, but I thought it comes here with okay form. I was willing to entertain it to an extent on the Saturday, so happy to be with it in a week affair here. And I thought the main danger was Cat Doro, who was probably a tragedy beaten at Wyong, but also has been a tragedy beaten a few times, so might be on its last legs with me. But too much to bear on top, and I'm pretty happy with the price. What about yourself?
Yeah, I think the same. I thought the price was pretty good, to be honest. As you said, we gave it a good chance before it was scratched last time out, and yeah, it's form around the likes of Mr. Brightside beating it, who's even money favourite in a pretty good race tomorrow down at Sandown. Look, I think, yeah, I'm quite surprised at the price, to be honest, given the quality of this affair and expect it to be super hard to beat.
Mm. And Lee McGorry and both the jockeys got McGorry and Hutchins. I've got no issue backing him on cars like this either. So I guess that's a tick as well. The girls benchmark 72 is race number 5, where not necessarily overly keen on it, but I've got Selberose on top again for Waller. Thought it's building to something this prep. Kobe Jennings on again, not a big issue. I think I called him Keegan Latham in my intro, but Kobe Jennings on, not overly keen, but I think can run well enough here. And I'll probably have a spec on Pretty Elsa, who's going to be about 15 or 16 bucks. Went out with a nice win, and the trial was okay back, and might have a bit of ability. But they were the two I was looking at again as my Waller love affair on the afternoon continues.
Yeah, I went for the other Waller horse around the $10 mark, Tight Ropes.
Mm-hmm.
Thought third up, produced a really nice run, albeit in maiden class. Won quite comfortably, and I think the second horse, and that's not the worst horse in the world.
Yeah.
So again, this horse could be improving and could step through the grades now. It's broken through. I thought around the $10 mark, it wasn't a bad play, given the number of Waller chances in the race.
Race number 6 is the benchmark 72 900-meter race. So these 900 meters at Newcastle are none of the form sort of makes any sense going in, and none of it means much coming out. So I didn't have a big opinion on this race. If I had to put one on top, I'd probably lean to Stoical, which has had the breakthrough win now. But yeah, not overly keen here. Did you have a firmer thought?
Yeah, I sort of got it down to two. I thought you were right with Stoical. I think it's a chance, and I don't mind the chances of Mr. Polar
Mm.
around the $13. Drawn a little bit wide, but ran a nice second
Yep.
only a few days ago on Saturday at Newcastle, wasn't it?
Yes.
Over this 900 metres and was caught a bit wide and stuck on quite well. And the thing that beat it came from the tail of the field and blew past it and won quite nicely. But it had a really tough run in transit. So if it's backed up okay from that, which I suggest it may have, it might run a bold race around I reckon you'll get around the $15.
Okay. Yeah. The length off Exceltic and Irish Angel reads pretty well for a race like this. So
Yep.
um, yeah, very good. To finish the day, though, we've got a benchmark 72 over the 1300 meters. And I'm going to stick with Rustic Angel here. Dylan Gibbons claims.
Rustic
Nice.
Steel.
Rustic Steel, sorry. Irish Angel. Rustic Steel is what we want. Um, Yeah, they resumed with a nice enough win. Trial since kept fresh, and I think it's got a fair margin on most of these. And I didn't think too much beyond that. Who do you like here?
Yeah, I think it's probably a good way to finish the day. Uh, Seems to have good enough form for a race like this, getting to the top of its peak, probably now fifth start into this prep. Um, Hard to beat here. Good draw, gets the claim.
Excellent. For progritracing.com.au, check them out for their free tips and extensive guides. Beaver, your best and value at Newcastle.
Yeah, my value, I went for race 6, number 4, Mr. Polar. Thought it might run a nice race. And my best bet of the day comes up in race 4, number 2, Too Much to Bear.
I'm with you. Too much to bear will be my best of the day as well, and a very backable price. And I'll make my value pretty Elsa in the where are we here in the benchmark 72 race number 5. That is. So we head down south now to Sandown Hillside, where the rail is in the 6 meter mark. It's currently soft. There's a little bit of rain around throughout the Arvo, so we'll see how that pans out. I think well, last time I was in this setup, it actually played leaders for Hillside, so we'll be a bit careful there. But your typical Hillside is you're able to run on down the middle of the track, so we'll see how that pans out. These first 2 races did not enthuse me at all. Did you want to have a play at any of them in race
Yeah,
one or
no, I
two?
didn't really like race 1. Race 2, I do like the chance of Sir Galahad.
Mm-hmm.
Thought its run last start was really impressive. Just sat behind the leader, and when it got out, it really booted away. I think it might get the same run here from the gate 4. This is not an overly strong affair. Gets in well weighted around the 55, and now that it's had its kill at Morphettville, they brought it back to Sandown. Expect it could be super hard to beat.
Excellent. The staying contest is race number 3, a benchmark 70 over the 2,400 meters, where I went towards the Smoking Romans form. I went to Mooney Valley as opposed to the other lead up here, and I thought Air to the Throne um, ran on pretty well in that race. Is now at the run over the trip. Jamie Carr gets on board, and I think will be hardest to beat. I was sort of taking on the rest of the ones coming through the midweek form. So yeah, around the $4 mark, race 3, number 3, Heir to the Throne for me.
Yeah, look, I thought the same. The Smoking Romans form looks really good. Uh, it's quite a decent horse, and so if it can run up to that type of form, should be too good for these. The other one I did like at a little bit of value is number 5, Marchon's Ensemble
Mhm.
from the Buston and Young stable. Gets to be third up now, out to the 2,400. Ran a nice race at Cranbourne last start on the heavy going, which wasn't suited, but was only about 3 lengths off them, and it gave the leaders way too much start there. Prior to that first start, ran a nice fifth, again, only a few lengths off Toff's Choice and Cafe Tortoni. Prior to that, had some decent form in Ireland. So again, now at the 2,400, let's see if it can produce some of its best form. Worth an each way play for me.
Yeah, cool. Benchmark 64, 1,300 meters is race number 4, where we've got 2 pretty tight in the market, but we talked a bit about flash floods chances leading into the Valley a couple of weeks ago. It's been saved for this off that nice Valley win, nearly a year off, maybe the only concern. But I like the claim of Jamie Richards here. He's riding quite well. And I like the fact this isn't a very strong race. So I'm happy to be with it. Have you gone the same way, or are you more interested in the other chance here?
No, I've gone for Toyetic.
Oh, you might.
Um,
Yep.
I thought first up was really nice. Got well out of its ground, and the on paces were too good there at sale over the 1,200. Gets a little bit extra here, and the longer straight at Sandown, which I think it'll play to its favour. It's going to get out of its ground and finish off. And then prior to that, if you go back to last preparation, only had the one start before they had to put it out, and that was in a nice race, which a horse by the name of Alidi, which comes up later in the day,
Mm.
ran second in that race. This has been racing in much stronger form races than this. I think it ran in a race in the spring last year behind Poland, and Tidius as well was only 2 lengths off it. So if it can produce what some of its earlier form and ability, I think it could be well in the finish here.
Yeah, cool. I want to see it do it again. That was the sort of only knock I had there. I was starting to get that sort of won its maiden and then there's faffed around a bit. So not the only one to do that in this race, but yeah, I was just taking that opinion more than anything. But hopefully it can for your sake. The benchmark 70 kicks off the quaddy over the mile, where we mentioned earlier Mr. Brightside, who's got the too much to bear form, comes back here. It's had a nice win off the back of that. Then it bolted in here last start. Gets gate 1, gets Craig Williams. I think this would be a pretty easy watch. Do you agree?
Yeah, look, I do like Mr. Brightside, but I actually think the top 3 horses in the market here, they look to have it between them, and I actually think all of them have got some ability. Eagles Craig, its 2 wins last prep after coming to Australia were outstanding, and I think it's got some ability. So I think Mr. Brightside's really going to have to be on his game to win this, and I don't even know how to say that.
Ayahuasca.
Yes.
Yep, close enough.
I think it's got a bit of ability as well. So I think the 3 of these can have this could be a really nice race to watch these, and I think all of them will be winning some more races.
Well, and we saw the horse that Ayahuasca gave Winburn, So You Assume, was very impressive at the Valley last week.
Exactly.
So that's stacked up there. And even Nick Spurs, not without a hope. I was surprised at the price until I did the rest of the form and saw what a good race it was. But this will be a good form race. I think we can follow. If nothing else, this will lead to midweek winners, if not Saturday winners in early spring. So very good. Is it easier?
Yeah, these ones will get to town, a couple of these.
Oh, for sure. Is race number 6, the 1800, a bit easier?
Yeah, a bit easier. Tavalu will be winning this. Interesting, they've backed it up so quickly, but half a length behind. I'm Thunderstruck, which is a quality horse. Tuvalu was very strong to the line there, and was even sort of probably coming back on I'm Thunderstruck at Moonee Valley. Yeah, it's a good horse and should be winning this.
Yeah, not much to add. That was a great run. Just being nabbed by Thunderstruck. It'll be better for this 10-day backup. All good for me. So this might start very short, but if we get a couple of early favourites win, this might start shorter. So anything over $1.60 I think is a very good bet. And I don't know if I'd take that price, but yeah, anything better I think is a great bet. The 7th is a 1,300-meter benchmark 64. It is. This is a trickier one. You mentioned Elite earlier. Is that the way you're leaning?
Yeah, I am going Elite. Its first start was pretty good. It closed really hard late. Again at a very nice price in a really, really good, strong race. Won by Awahi Princess, but Bubbly Lass finished second. The extra distance suits. Strips fitter here, and if you go back through the form last preparation, it was running in races, finished. Was last in a race at Caulfield before they put it out that had problems, but prior to that ran second behind Cirillo Miss. It was Sig Positano, Pakenham Fighting Harada. Ran second too. That's pretty good form for a race like this. So I think it's going to be super hard to beat. Main Danger, definitely awkward. Really liked its first up run as well. Will be getting home quite hard. The draw's a good one. It got Oliver aboard. It'll give you a good side as well, flashing home.
The two, I think you've nailed the chances there. The two just outside the market that maybe for exotics. Found out Thrill had a couple of preps in Sydney, came down and broke through in Melbourne. The Waterhouse horse, not the flashiest of times, but looked impressive, and his double figures. And I think Gabera will improve as well. just not really in the race last time at Lakeside. Dryer and Hillside will suit, but I think you've summed up the main chances there. The 1,000-meter fillies and mares benchmark 70 cleans up the day, where I went looking for all the 1,000-meter horses and found Moscon on top. I thought it's been pretty good both runs this prep. Lockie Nindoff on. It'll hopefully we can make ground down the outside and it'll be storming home. And I thought was a decent each way play to wrap up the day in a tricky fare. Just these 1,000-meter hillside ones. How do you line them all up?
Yeah, look, I narrowed it down to both Moscon and Lani Bang Bang. They ran 1-2 last start, and I think they could well run the Quinella again here. Hard to line them up. Wouldn't be surprised if Lani Bang Bang got the better of Moscon this time, but I'll be backing one and saving on the other.
Fantastic. Yeah, I thought that so too. I don't know if I've been spooked just by how bad Brazen Bully was. In terms of, we're just talking about the favourite is Vera, or whether that's not really form, but I thought that was just too short in this sort of race. So, yeah, we've both found the same 1,000-meter lean up, and we see 1,000-meter horses seem to be sort of distance specialists. So, happy to look that way. For progretracing.com.au, your best in value.
Yeah, my value bet is in race 4, number 10, Toyetic, around the $6.57 mark. And my best bet of the day comes up in race 7, number 5, Alidi.
I'm going to make my value the last, actually, race 8, number 3, Moscon, around a 750. And no prizes here, but I think Tuvalu is a certainty. Just to look, I'll throw Mr. Brightside in just for a little bit of better value, really going on a limb today, I know. But let's try and get a couple over the line. Do you have anything up north for us in Queensland?
Yeah, just a couple. I wasn't overly keen on Doomben tomorrow. I thought there was a lot of races that had a lot of horses with maiden form or not a lot of form at all. But I thought the first race, race 1, number 1, Star Tontes, should be hard to beat on the day. And then my other bet came up later in the day. I think it was around race, just trying to find now. Race 7, number 9, more than number 1. So they were my only 2 bets for the day up at Doomben.
Excellent. Good job, Beaver. Good luck tomorrow. We'll be back on Thursday night to look forward to PB Lawrence Stakes Day. Spring's here. The first, I guess, feature spring race of the carnival and of the Melbourne Carnival. And we head to Kembla for another feature race, which has been moved, which I've just forgotten. The up and coming, I think it is, in Sydney. The 3-year-olds are back. So looking forward to that. Stay safe, everyone. And we will talk to everyone shortly. Catch you, mate.